I have maybe a controversial take on Silksong.
Don't piss
And
me off.
so
I'm sorry.
I uh I don't want to like make you have to be subjected to this. Would you be okay if I like just go on for a minute or a few minutes about a thought on this that I have?
No, no, please do.
um it's I think it's a kind of a silly rant, but
Well, hold on before we go any
nonetheless
further.
kind of reasonable.
You played Hollow Knight?
Yes, yes.
Okay. When you say you played it, did you beat the fuck? I don't even know what it's called. What's like this stupid, crazy DLC they did at the end, where it's like you had to fight all like bosses in a row, and then do like a crazy
I
puzzle.
believe I believe I did most of the game, and I don't think I 100%ed it. I think I tapped out somewhere, but I do not remember where because it was so long ago.
No,
Um,
no, I most mess with you. I mean, I did. Obviously, I played the game. I played more or less like you. I think I 100% of the base game, but no, I mean the DLCs were basically, especially the last one, like the God's Ascension or whatever it was there for people who just wanted the craziest of challenge. It really is like a boss rush, I
yeah,
think, where you can't die. Uh, so I
and I
didn't do
think I
those either.
tapped out. Yeah, I think I tapped out before that because
There's
I'm
a
really
crazy
not a
obstacle course
challenge for
too.
the sake of challenge guy. As long as it was like new story content or adding to
I
the
know,
lore or
dude. That's the
whatever.
problem with me, dude. I just need and that, yeah, I don't know. It's something wrong with my brain because like, and when I'm playing a game like Hollow Knight, I have to do the side content before I finish the main story. Because if I finish the main story, I'm like, I'm done. I already know the game. It ends. I have no will. Like, all enjoyment of the game just drains. Like, I already beat it. I don't need to do the
I
other
get that,
stuff. So I mean, I get what
but
you're
I'm the
saying, though.
same the
Like,
same
because,
way.
the DLC especially was just. Well, actually, one of the DLCs was some story stuff, like the troops, whatever. But yeah, the other one was just straight up challenge stuff. But anyways, go on with your rant. Sorry.
No, I liked Hollow Knight. I would definitely, I would always play a
You
sequel.
didn't like it enough.
Um, no, I liked it very
No, I
well,
checked. I
and
checked.
I would definitely play a sequel.
I checked. It's not enough though.
You checked?
Yeah, I checked. I took the little meter.
Oh,
Yeah, you weren't
I didn't
looking. I
know
did a
you
little
could.
meter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know what to think about that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
I'll have to self-reflect. Uh, but yeah, I'm not an actual fan in like the actual sense of that term.
Yeah, yeah.
In
You
that I've
enjoyed the
never
game.
engaged in Silksong discourse or whatever. Um, Beyond having like amusement at something like the cake. What was the chocolate cake being like a clue to when they were going to announce the announcement or whatever? When that actually happened, and I thought that was funny. Other than like a minor thing like that, every few years, I never really looked into it at all. I just enjoyed Hollow Knight, and if Silk Song never came out, it wouldn't really affect me, quite honestly. That being said, the narrative I'm seeing currently, and this is very fresh, this is all happening right now. The narrative I'm seeing is that an almost total lack of communication for years at a time is like the desirable MO for game developers. That's something I would like to dispute or like put a caveat on. Obviously, it's amazing for Team Cherry that they were able to develop the game in this way. The article released by Jason Schreier at Bloomberg interviewing the developers goes into how uh there's been no major controversies or hiccups or hurdles or anything like that. They didn't even have problems with COVID. They were fine. Everything's been absolutely fine on their end. They were just, years ago they said we're going silent to develop the game, and they literally did that. They went silent and just developed the game on their own time, on their own terms. They had all the money in the world from the sales of Hollow Knight, and they kept making more. Um, and they just had fun making the game. And that is the extent of the experience they had. They just had fun developing Silksong for 7+ years. That was it. So that is the absolute dream of any game development, No time constraints, no monetary constraints whatsoever, not being beholden to a publisher, no executive meddling, not even engaging with the online discourse. They were saying how they were almost totally offline. The only like uh fandom discourse they ever saw was their friends or family sending them memes occasionally, which they would chuckle at. That was the extent of the like their online presence in terms of the Silksong stuff. So just making the art as much as you want for as long as it takes. And I love that for them. I'm glad they were able to spend years just having fun making their art. I truly wish that for all developers. That's the golden method, right? And it can't be done for almost everybody. This is a rare example. But I hope it made the game great and passion filled. But to me, the frequent radio silence over the course of this many years, especially after the now years old missed release date that they had. I forget if it was 2022 or 2023, but it's now years old that they missed their stated release date and just like didn't give a reason as to why. They just kept developing in silence, right? Although, I guess people just had to assume that they were still developing the game after the missed release date. That strikes me as if on a human level, they don't really care that much about the people who love their art. And I know that's kind of a vicious statement, but let me explain. The common responses in defense of their actions will say mostly two things I'm seeing. They don't owe people anything. Like even that original backed Hornet DLC that became Silksong. That's taken on such a grander form. I don't think Cherry can really be said to be just like spiritually owe anyone anything at this point in terms of that, backer reward. Although people that backed it and are still alive are going to be getting a much grander scope reward for that all these years later, in the form of Silksong. But yeah, that's the one defense I see, that they don't owe anyone anything. And the other thing being that Silksong will be a success regardless, like monetarily, maybe critically, but mostly monetarily. And in fact, the waiting and the controversy that their silence generated may have done a better job of keeping the hype alive than any marketing strategy could have. To both those things, that they don't owe anybody anything and that, the game will be a success, I agree. And I think that those things are sort of beside the point of how I'm sure some of the people feel who are like in the fandom. I'm just mentally putting myself in the shoes of a person who has made a game, it's been played by millions of people, has thousands of fans, and then has thousands of people who are exceptionally enthused, let's say, about the art, about my product, and have made it a part of their lives, their identity in a way. It's important to them. And I know that if that developer were me, I would feel responsible for putting out some sort of message at some point to some sort of interval to connect with them, whatever the depth or scope of that communication, however brief. In fact, I'd probably be brief and pretty infrequent unless I wanted to share development milestones or any sort of like content from the game I was making. They didn't want to. I understand that. But yeah, whatever the amount of communication, just something to let them know that this sequel to the game that they love is still being made. To even just let them know I'm doing okay and I'm not in any trouble, because that led to rampant speculation among the people who cared about not only the game but also the people behind the game. It's like just no communication as to that in that regard. Because I know that if I were one of those fans, then silence would at best confuse me and at worst concern me and make my life a little sadder. So like I can't imagine not having some degree of empathy for the connection that other people have made with my art. Team Cherry's lack of communication and then finding out it wasn't due to anything makes it seem as if they sort of lack that empathy, and they do not owe the communication. They don't. But I think they absolutely should have given it, if you know what I mean, at least a little. Um, it would have cost them nothing to occasionally type a few words for the many people that are directly emotionally affected by what they make. Indie developers do that all the time. I mean, one of the things that people are pointing out online is that like there's a bunch of indie developers that do that kind of stuff at different levels of like how much they want to volunteer about the game they're making. I think that's completely normal, completely healthy. There are always supposed fans who will get mad about the delays no matter what. They can be safely ignored, which would be easy for Team Cherry because they claim to have been almost entirely offline about all of this. People bring up examples like George R. R. Martin. Like, look how well updates have worked out for him. As an example of like why that can be detrimental. Ignoring that the ire with him is because of the things that he chose to volunteer to update with, like the stats and the promises that he chose to provide. It's a nuanced thing, right? You can choose what you communicate. So I don't think they would have even needed to provide so much as a single screenshot in like whatever their annual even like Christmas card post to the internet to their fandom. They could choose anything. So I'm just saying, it comes down to like a human thing that I think a lot of people are ignoring. Like that it's not that they had to. They do not owe anyone anything. But they should have for all the people that care. And I admire their ethic. I respect their honesty about all this. I just dislike their behavior towards the people affected by them. And I don't think it's just because they're Australian. I think, I think they're probably very chill guys. I'm aware we're talking about something that doesn't matter too much aside from like hurt feelings at most. But again, I barely have a horse in this race. This is kind of like, I guess irked me a little bit, just that people are so focused on like certain aspects of this discourse, right? When I think that I would expect something slightly different from them. Thoughts, comments, John? Thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I'll just say quickly. I think I'm a little bit agree, but mostly disagree, I guess.
Okay.
If I was a developer, would I update people? Sure. And like you said, they don't owe anybody anything. I do agree on that part. I guess where I trail off more is, maybe this is just me being cruel, but I think I'm an empathetic guy. You shouldn't be that affected about this game. Like, look, I like Hollow Knight. I like it a lot. You know what I mean? I like a lot of stuff a lot, but like, this is just, hey, this is it. This is, hey, we're doing a video game podcast, but this is advice from John to you, listener. Never care about a piece of media that much.
Oh, just ever?
Right?
Oh, okay.
Ever. All right. It's just media. Unless you made it, then you care about it, but that's different. That's something you made. You know what I'm saying? Because the person who is making it or the company that's making it, they almost certainly do not care about it as much as you.
I think that's usually true.
I think that's almost always true, and not even in a bad way. I mean, like, I don't know, just like I don't really want to get off on a tangent here because it's been going a long time. But you see things like I don't know why this example came to my head. Like Dragon Ball Z, right? People will ask like Toriyama, why didn't you use Super Saiyan 2 anymore? And he's just like, oh, I forgot I forgot it was a thing. And it's like,
yeah.
To fans, it's like impossible. You know every little detail, you know everything. But to the people making it, it's just like, all right, I make it and then I move on. Like, it's like actors not watching the movies, I guess. For me, yeah, whatever. My point is, don't get connected to it. It's gonna be.
Well, I think it's a spectrum too, right? There's people who connect to different levels, and like, I think it's a little too inhuman to say don't connect at all to any media that you experience. Yeah, but like, okay, you can say that, but like,
I know what you're. I know. Obviously, I know it's not as easy as that. But like, don't be upset. Like, I guess in a certain sense, like, the game's coming out. It doesn't matter if it comes out in 10 years, 5 years. I don't know.
I would absolutely say don't get upset about it. Don't get obsessed about it. My philosophy is always it's not out till it's out, and that has served me very well for my entire life. I don't care about something until it's actually in my hands, so to speak. So I agree in a sense that like I don't think anybody should be getting so emotionally invested that it actually hurts their feelings. I think if it's not out and you're not getting any feedback, the healthier thing to do would be to just leave it alone, right? Just, don't worry about it. If it ever happens, it happens. The problem is I'm thinking about the people who can't not do that. You know what I mean? Who
Right.
get invested despite themselves, despite any of their intentions. It's just what happens to them. It's what
Yeah.
happens to their heart.
No, I get it. And that's human, right? Like if they were to, whatever, if let's say the announcement didn't happen and they were like, hey man, Silksong's canceled, you can't help but be bummed out. I have game series that I like that get canceled. You're like, oh, that sucks. But like,
Yeah.
then the next day you just got to move on.
And people talk about like, oh, what about the people who died while waiting for Silksong? And I'm like,
yeah, but like that's insane.
It would be the same either way.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
it's
like
not like they
saying,
would have gotten to Make-A-Wish play a build of it or anything like that. It's just like, I'm sorry that they passed away, but
or they would have just passed away. Seeing like a beta build of it, like that would have made them happier.
Maybe on their deathbed it would have been like, it'll come out for all my friends.
Yeah, that's exactly
all my friends in the clown community.
They died not knowing if the game was going to come out, and that's a lot sadder than dying knowing their friends are going to get to play a good game. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, I get. All right, I get you swaying me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with you in like to a degree, but also like I think that sometimes you can't help it. I just feel for that subset of people that like have been affected by this. It's been years, and just like feel like the silence was a pointed thing, right? Was like an unwillingness to engage with the people who care. And I just feel it was like an unnecessary strife, if you know what I mean. Like, there's really no reason.
There's no upside to it besides
for this to have happened. There's really no reason for there not to have been like literally one update per year from the developers, like from teamcherry.gov saying like, we're working on it. Thank you for your continued support. Don't even fucking thank the people. I don't give a shit. Just like something, right? Something. Right. And I know that there was the community manager or like the PR guy. He was on like the Discord saying stuff.
Yeah, but who even is that? That's someone just like they hired, like off hired, like just literally they had a PR guy,
It's not really the same thing. And he didn't really have from what I ever saw, he didn't really have substantial things to say. No, which is kind of the same as like a random guy being like, they're definitely still working on it.
Yeah, but the janitor's like, yeah, they go in the building every day. Yeah.
I clean up after them, I empty the waste baskets.
Yeah, to amend my previous statement.
They're writing something down.
I'm going to formulate a theorem. I'm not totally sure on it yet, but the more hands that are on a project, the less you should care about it.
That's an interesting perspective. I mean, for sure.
Now, the theorem's not totally sound yet, but I'll get a ratio eventually. There's got to be a tipping point and stuff like that, or but right. But it does kind of contradict my previous thing because Team Cherry is 3 people, so I kind of get it. But I just feel like I don't know, with you have more people, like I'm thinking more so of like studios. You're never going to get a true vision, you know what I mean? It's always going to be muddied down by this money or that money.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that's not the case with Hollow Knight at all, so I don't even know why I'm bringing it up.
Well, my take on what you said is like, let's make it less of a hard and fast rule and more of like a guideline for like how to live your life, right? So like I think it's much healthier to be passionate about like specific artists than about like corporations or companies that are like, you don't know what the hell's happening with them at any given time, or like who's in control of them, or like what money is going where. With a team of 2 people or like a singular painter or something like that, right? You have that like personal connection, not a parasocial one. That's not what I mean. I mean, like it's more acceptable to like be personally passionate about their art because you're right that it's like coming from them directly. So I think that's a little more healthy in a way. But yeah, I mean, I'd sorry to sort of rant about that. I'm glad to hear your perspective, and I'm not saying I'm right. This is the way I've been feeling about this past day. I just wanted to say my piece. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it was my
Again, I have
game, I
nothing
would say
against them
stuff.
really.
I would. I mean, if I read a game, I would be like, I don't know. I would be on more side of probably showing too much. Like, here's all the character designs we did this week. You know.
Right. That's why I kind of like I do respect their ethic because like I agree. I think I would also be the type of person who would like want some validation, right? That I'm in like heading the right direction with certain stuff, or like, isn't this cool what I'm doing a little bit?
Exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
I'm not that guy like too much, but it would be nice to have some feedback now and then as a creative. These guys apparently just love the silent running, love the ride, right, of just pure development. And I can respect that. I can.
Yeah,
I
and
don't really
especially,
have
I
too much against
didn't
these guys.
follow Hollow Knight. The Kickstarter. I'm assuming they were more vocal with that one, just because
Yes, they were.
they're kind of playing with other people's money. And this one, I mean, I get it a little bit more. It's like it's their money. They don't really have anyone to answer to, like you said. Well, I guess they kind of. I don't know. It's in a weird actually situation, right? Because like, this goes all the way
Very
back to the
unusual.
Kickstarter where Hornet was just supposed to be a playable character or like a small DLC.
Hmm.
I can't remember which one. So like, I guess they kind of do owe some people, a lot of people actually. I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird situation. The Kickstarters at least should have gotten some sort of private update. I think I'll settle on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I think there was like one time or something like that. Like there was very limited
Right.
update
Well,
in that regard
I
for
feel like yeah, actually,
backers.
yeah. I think the Kickstarter people were actually owed like an update just because they've kickstarted since like 2014 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But everyone else, I don't feel like they're owed, but I feel like it would be good.
Uh, it was initially playable Hornet, which then evolved into DLC, I believe,
Right, and the
and then that
DLC
evolved
became
into
too
Silksong.
big, and yeah, it became so okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope this is good. The tragic thing would be like 7+ years, scope creep turns into a bloated mess, right? It's just somehow like I don't expect that of these guys because I think they have a good head on their shoulders game development wise, from what we saw in Hollow Knight, where they had to just cut themselves off for money reasons, but they made a full good game. So I don't expect that, but wouldn't it suck if like this complete freedom resulted in a bloated game? I just really hope it. I cross my fingers hoping it's not that, and I don't expect that. I think it'll probably be good. Probably be good. Silk Song. Skong.
I believe I'm a believer.
Not a doubter.